I'll just start now too.
All right, yeah, I am recording currently.
Cool. And then I'm gonna flip myself live, so you will be on the internet.
Copy that. You were already on the internet, so.
Oh.
I just never stopped. I never stopped streaming. So.
Okay. So I'm good. I'm recording. You're recording your audio, right?
I am right now.
I think we're set.
Great.
I think we're set.
Great. Well, Lawrence,
It's time to talk to the internet.
What did
about?
Oh yeah, talk to
Jonathan Master.
talk to the internet number 36.
36.
Lawrence, what did you think about John 117 Halo Infinite Master Chief Open World?
Ooh, he's got a number on the chat. So, one of the things that I thought was super cute is when they're showing like them stamping out the Mjolnir armor or whatever. It has that like little piece of liquid metal kind of drop down and hit a little platform and kind of congeal and then it starts floating. That's the Xbox boot, which I thought was super cool.
Oh.
It's just like a really tiny thing. But I was like, oh, that's neat. Hold on, I'm looking at a video now. Oh, okay, there we go.
I'm watching it for B-roll on my but I didn't realize it was the Xbox boot.
It's got to be an intentional reference, right?
It has to be.
Looks so similar.
Yeah, it has.
The same camera placement, sort of. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I guess we can just tick through all the demos and share our expert gamer commentary, right?
Well, I just got raided by Eddie Burback, and you're joining into us talking about Xbox. So
Xbox.
So much Xbox Series X. I mean, like, so I don't. Just overall, how did you feel about it?
There are a couple things I really wanted that are still not happening. I mean, the obvious ones are price and release date.
Yeah.
In addition to that, there weren't release dates for pretty much any game, aside from the ones they've already confirmed. So, like, Infinite will be at launch, but for the rest of them, it's like nothing.
There was they gave July.
So
there was July 28th for one of the games. That was the Honey I Shrunk the Kids game.
Oh, Grounded?
That's what it was, yeah. They gave it, so that's like a week from now. So, but other than that, yeah, you're right. There were no release dates.
Which was my chief complaint about the PlayStation 5 conference too. Although I think that both of these conferences have different business agendas in the way that Sony and Microsoft have different agendas. I feel like Sony's still trying to sell a box,
whereas
Microsoft just wants you on Game Pass, which I think they hit that messaging pretty well. They didn't like slam it with a brick like they have in the past of just putting Game Pass branding on everything, but they did have to reiterate a couple of times that like all of the Microsoft games you see, you're going to get on the first day with Game Pass. So I think it was more of a showcase about the value proposition of Game Pass for the next couple of years than it was about the explicit value of dropping $500 on a Series X.
Mm-hmm. There was before most, or not, well, let's say half the games, they said console launch exclusive, and we are assuming then the console's coming out this year. So I guess that's a release date. Could that be considered a release date?
Console launch exclusive. Maybe. I mean, that's such a weird phrase. There's a couple of ways to interpret that. Is that the game is launching exclusively on the Xbox when it launches. I don't know if that necessarily...
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
I think that just means Xbox and PC. For a window. It's like that timed exclusivity thing that usually happens with PlayStation, except they can't say platform exclusive because it would also be PC, I'm assuming.
And I feel, because I mean, they're not going to push the launch of the console, right? Like, it's going to launch November of this year.
It has to.
It has
There's
to.
no reason for it not to.
Yeah. So I feel like then that's, if they say it's a console launch exclusive and the console's coming out this year, it's got to be November, right? I mean, it has to be.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
That just the way I interpret that, which is not the most generous interpretation, is that when the game launches, it will launch exclusively on this console.
Yeah.
But
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know that means that it's going to exclusively launch with the console.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you're right. That phrase could go either way.
It's weird.
Oh, my brain's snapping now.
It's really weird because that's what I interpret it as, right? I would interpret it as when the console comes out, those are the games we get. That's what I thought. But I could be totally wrong. So who knows? I just realized John Master Chief has a RoboCop walk. Like every time he steps, it goes ka-chunk. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I also feel like this is the best time you've gotten a look at Master Chief's butt. Look at that. I mean, you're not
I'm
watching my feed, but
I am actually watching the Halo trailer, but I didn't stare at his butt like you did. I should have.
why?
I know.
Aren't you?
I should have. You're
Look
right.
at them cheeks.
Hold on.
It's got nice curvature.
I gotta go.
Holy shit, man.
I gotta find the butt. Where's the butt? What?
We need to. Ooh.
What's your?
It's at on the YouTube time code. It's like 33:49. But I don't know if that's what you're watching. That has the whole
that's exactly what I'm watching. All right, let's pause it on his butt here so we can take a look. Did Halo look like a graphical increase to you at all? Like, did it look any better than Halo 5?
I mean, it looked like it was running at higher resolution through YouTube compression, but Halo's weird. Halo's aesthetic is sort of designed around things that were easy to render on early 3D. So to make it look better, you just kind of have to put some scuff marks on pretty low poly stuff. Also, it is a Halo ring, which aesthetically I think people just associate with certain visual styles that also were kind of created to run on an Xbox.
Yeah,
an original Xbox.
That are old. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
But I thought like the vegetation looked cool. I think there are hints of that sort of thing where like you would pop up in the world map. The draw distance looks pretty cool. There are these cool new growths everywhere that are, I guess, intended to bust up the visual variety of a Halo ring a little bit. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not a Halo scholar, but like these like giant vertical pillars that are kind of popping out of the ground. Those are not typically on a Halo ring, right?
No, those are definitely part of the new world, but they looked so Minecrafty. It was just weird. Like I don't know. It was one of those things where I was expecting, and I guess maybe I shouldn't have been expecting this considering it's open world now, but I was expecting like a huge graphical increase for Halo Infinite, but since they've increased the gameplay and not necessarily the graphics, which is okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the features they tout as graphical advancements, it's going to be impossible to see through YouTube compression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 4K 60 FPS, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that'll probably look amazing on a TV, but there's really no way, I think, to replicate that fidelity. Not yet. It'd be nice someday. I don't even, like, the conference wasn't even being streamed in 4K, was it? This is the thing that keeps happening.
I don't think so. It was a 1080p 60 is from what I saw. Yeah.
So even still, like, and I don't know, that starts to get into weird dynamics. I remember when like the PS3s and 360s were coming out, everybody's like, nobody has an HD TV. So when those consoles came out, it was kind of hard to see where the real advances were. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's going to be roughly the same for this generation of consoles. People have to have like
4K.
60 hertz 4K displays with HDR.
Yeah.
And then it's the same old diminishing returns aspect of tech. Somebody did actually notice that, like, if you compare this to the PlayStation stream, PlayStation did have that Ratchet and Clank demo that showed off like the SSD loading with all the teleporters and stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, there wasn't like exactly a gimmicky tech moment like that in the Infinite demo, which I guess is what you might expect. But I don't know. I feel like the Infinite demo was more trying to convince people that Halo Combat Evolved is back, rather than tell them that this is like new HD Halo or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was, because they didn't really show me much of an increase. But I guess I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by Halo's like Far Cry style gameplay, and I think Halo's like we've seen so many Halos that are single player and so linear that now when I see this, I'm like, is this what I wanted? Like I don't like because I mean, like, I really liked Halo's story, and like I really liked playing that linear style gameplay with with friends and stuff like that. I was like, is this what I wanted? I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's fascinating you bring that up, because Halo has had a bit of an identity crisis. Is way too strong and dramatic, but like for me, and this is going to verge on elitist territory, so I apologize in advance. But like Halo was good, and it carved out really good ground for itself because it had a cool setting, and it did a lot of stuff right in terms of adapting shooters to controllers.
Mm-hmm.
It did a lot of stuff right.
It did, yeah.
But still, like, that strength was in adaptation. The strength of Halo, for me at least, was finding ways to circumvent restrictions at the time, which is that you have a lot of people who are new at playing shooters on controller, So it has twin stick movement. It's got big floaty jumps. It's got got a really aggressive auto aim. Like it nailed a lot of stuff to make shooters feel right. But then people got a lot better at playing shooters on stick.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that Halo did now are fully anachronistic.
That's right.
So, but then you have like the Halo 5 dilemma of like, well, if you give Master Chief sprint and dodge, it stops feeling like Halo. So how do you make a game that was, by my estimation, largely defined by the restrictions it was circumventing when those restrictions are no longer around?
Well, that to me was the single player. That was the whole point, is that they made this game because like all the stuff you're saying is exactly correct. That's the reason Halo, when it first came out, was so huge, is because it felt like you were playing a shooter with a controller, like naturally. But I also thought the story was the whole other part of that, which is that when you got into a Halo game, it was like, oh man, like Master Chief, the character, Cortana, you know those characters pretty well, and you were excited to get back into that world. So I just wonder if Halo Infinite will also have that.
Well, I mean, I think they established a clear and magnanimous villain.
Yep.
Who, I just got immediate Thanos vibes because he's bald.
Of course.
And he's like got that manner of like, he relishes combat, but is still an intelligent conqueror kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they really, I don't want to like it by my perception, it's like too obvious to be like, that looked like Thanos, it's Thanos. But still, that dude is straight up Thanos.
It's Thanos, yeah.
But that's good. I mean, Halo hasn't had a really, I guess, strong antagonist for a while. Especially Halo 5, man. Even that game's marketing couldn't figure out who the bad guy was. So, I don't know. I feel like in terms of like the story and experience thing, if they have a big angry red guy who's monstering you the whole game, also, Cortana didn't show up, which was interesting. I swore at the end he was going to, like, hold up a chip, and Cortana was going to materialize above it, being like, yeah, again. Actually, I can't remember what happened to Cortana at the end of Halo 5, so my pants are falling down a little bit. But yeah, in regards to story, I don't know. It's interesting. Bungie always had a weirdly light and enigmatic touch.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that ratcheted up in Destiny to the point where they're like, Bungie just feeds you a bunch of weird, mysterious crap to almost make you not care, or really establish your expectations about what you're going to get in terms of the story. But yeah, once 343 took over, it feels like they wanted to make it more of a kind of directly told space opera sci-fi kind of story, which I thought worked really well for 4, not so great for 5.
Not so great for 5.
But what are we getting in Infinite? Angry Man has the ring, and he's going to be evil with it. Which, that's all you need for a good space shooter. That's all we've had forever. So I feel like the simplicity's back. I feel like the gameplay demo explicitly was basically saying, hey, remember the second level from Combat Evolved? It's back.
But you can go everywhere and do everything. And
I hope so.
That's what it looked like. I mean, like, it was... I'm playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima now, and it looks exactly like that. You hit pause, and you go, oh, there's 7,000 waypoints around me. I got to go to all of those,
Yeah, let me go look back at that map screen, because you land and it's like, take out the 3 things and you can do it in whatever order you want.
There are other ones too, like outside of the gun batteries you have to take out.
Oh boy.
There's a spot there. Like, let me see here. Hold on. Let me try and find.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that mini map because it's interesting. I feel like a ton of games went down the route of like, we're gonna make a game with a mini map, and that mini map's going to be filled with bullshit, and that would have that was amazing 4 years ago, but 4 years later, after they're 4 years into development on this game, and suddenly everyone hates minimaps because it got played out. Oh, I got creative updates available. Thanks, Creative Cloud. Always looking out down there.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like Far Cry. It's a Ubisoft game, but Halo. So
man, I had a vision last night, and I was hoping it was true. So like in the key art they showed last night, it showed that Master Chief had his grappling hook, and you saw some of that in the gameplay demo of him yanking barrels and pulling himself towards enemies. That's cool, and I feel like that's how you make or Halo modern without adding sprint and dash, is to give Master Chief some kind of maneuverability tool. Oh yeah, you're right. There are icons outside of that playable space.
Yeah.
What I was hoping is that Halo Infinite would be like it would take place on a Halo ring, and that you would use the grappling hook to yank yourself across the Halo, that you would have this like high-powered jet boots or something, and you could like it would almost be like an environment sim, almost like Dynasty Warriors environment, where
Oh,
you've got like Marines all over the Halo, and they're all fighting all the time, and then some Marines on the other side of the Halo are like, Master Chief, we need your help, and then you just like grapple yourself across a like off of a building and sling yourself through space to
yeah.
land on the other side of the Halo without like any loading or anything. It's like, oh, that's next gen power.
I see.
That didn't really happen though.
Well,
Instead,
there's a whole other aspect to this that I don't know that they are adding. Maybe you know this, but co-op. Like, are they gonna have co-op for this, or is this strictly single player?
that's a really good question.
Because if it's strictly single player, that's fine. They showed it, but I wonder. Halo Infinite to me just seemed like something that they could then also drop co-op into, and then you can go around and do all this stuff with other Master Chiefs. But I don't know. People in my chat are saying definitely co-op, but I don't actually know that that's the case.
It's gotta be. As much as Infinite seems to be them, like, with the statement trying to, like, win back the favor of classic Halo fans. I mean, based on, like, you are Master Chief on the Halo again, and again, this demo is just the second level of combat. I mean, that's hyper reductive, but it is functionally the second level of combat evolved.
Right.
I cannot imagine a world where this game doesn't have
It's gotta.
open co-op.
Yeah, it has to.
But then, like, yeah, but then people, like, the draw distances are wild, and people can just go off and do their own thing, which I guess there's no problem with that. Huh.
Yeah, that's just what it sounded like to me, is that, like, they're going to drop you into an open world or a semi-open world, and then you're going to have 4 Master Chiefs running around taking out objectives and stuff, which is cool. And that's something that would then show off the power of what they could do, but they didn't show it off in this specific showcase. So
that's true. Yeah, plenty of marketing beats left for that, though.
Yeah.
Presuming, I think they showed off enough. I like some of the mechanics you saw were neat. Like, I'm just watching through the demo again, and there were brutes that were charging. He shot their legs, so they stumbled, and then he shot their heads because while they were stumbling, their heads moved forward.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's neat. More like one of the combat evolved aspects was the, like, unique gun combos and techniques you could do on individual enemies, whether it's like the pistol shot to the back for the hunters. Nope, they're not hunters. What are the worm dudes called that have, like, all the armor?
The brutes?
Are those brutes? No, they're not.
I don't know. I'm
they
not
have
sure.
like the green guns. Yeah, they are hunters. Okay.
I thought they were hunters. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's this, like, Combat Evolved was cool because it, like, in addition to opening up shooters to controllers, it also had, like, top level tips that you would eventually learn to be able to beat it on Legendary and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's some degree of that represented here in showing the particular combat mechanics of various enemy types. So I don't know. It does seem to be like they just really ran through all the design elements that made Combat Evolved really good and decided to make a sequel to that game, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
And is theoretically what people say they want.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious if it's going to be all on the Halo. It's probably not, but
yeah.
What bums me out, though, is I think we've seen a couple of examples so far of open world games where you get to choose your own objectives and stuff, and how that can make storytelling a really weird proposition.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was worried about with Halo, is because, again, it was very, very linear, and it was super clear that they put you in this level. Your objective is to clear out the library, and you're like, all right, go clear out the library. So you go do it. But this is different if you've got a bunch of Master Chiefs running around, doing a bunch of different things. And I don't know that it'll necessarily have the same. You know what, though? I take that back. Like Far Cry, I think did that pretty well. They still had a good narrative, even though it was co-op. I feel like they could pull that off a little bit. So
yeah,
it's doable.
This even the same setup sort of can apply, where it's like, okay, in Act 1, we got to introduce the Monkey Man as the big bad guy, but then also there's this, like, lower level Covenant dude, or what are they called, the Banished or whatever, and he's the bad guy you got to take down in Act 1. But first of all, we got to take out these anti-aircraft batteries so our Marines can land. Okay, now we got to get this portable generator up, and that means we got to take out this laser cannon on the cliffside. And, like, in between every chunk of open world objectives you get, it's like, okay, come back to base for your debriefing, and that's when they can show you a little cutscene of a holographic Monster Man just talking shit to you and your bros, so you get really pissed off.
Yeah. That's Obi Fizzle in I think in your chat said it's coming out on the current gen Xbox One as well. So I still don't know where the technological advancements are. I really don't know.
It's interesting because like I feel like in a lot of ways Microsoft is trying to sidestep a lot of the expectations of new generations. The technological advancement theoretically is that you can start it on a current gen console if you need to. Buy it on a next gen console, it'll automatically upgrade itself.
Oh, that's cool.
Or you can stream it to your phone, and you get all of that for $15 a month. Like that's Microsoft's next gen is their premise with Game Pass, as opposed to here's a new box that runs things a million times better, which it will also do. But I feel like they are not really leaning into that marketing so much as the ecosystem is the idea. So like you can't, as cool as the Ratchet and Clank teleporting was, there's no premise that you'll get that game for $15 when the console launches and be able to play it on a PlayStation 4 and be able to stream it to your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true.
But does that feature matter to you? I don't know.
Lots of people in your chat are flipping out about ray tracing. And there's RTX in there. There's a little bit of ray tracing.
I guess on the dude's face, yeah, and like the lights blinking on it, but like I feel like if you wanted to really goose ray tracing, there'd be like a giant lake somewhere in the Halo ring that reflects like the top of the Halo ring.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be sick. Why didn't they do that?
Why didn't they do that? There's a lot of things they didn't do in this that I was
lazy devs.
No, I'm not saying that at all. It's just more of like what they decided to show. Because I mean, they may have that very, very well. They may have all that stuff, and I'm sure they've got co-op gameplay floating around and stuff like that. They just didn't show any of it. So,
yeah, and oh, dude, like imagine they could do this. Like, I mean, I guess this wouldn't actually be that hard, but the way that light could work around a free floating Halo ring in space with God rays and ray tracing would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So like. Imagine you're fighting and then the ring spins so that like the half of the ring you're on is eclipsed by the other half of the ring. Like it'd be cool to be in a firefight and see the shadows like track and
like
then
moving.
Everything goes pitch black for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like everything's lit up by just your gunfire and the enemy gunfire because Halo guns are very bright, which works really well. And like a lot of tracing, little wispy plasmas and stuff. And then like a couple of minutes later, the sun starts to move outside, and so you get these really harsh lights and shadows starting to hit. That'd be sick. That would be like
that'd be great, Lawrence.
Just a graphical flourish.
That would be great. We didn't get any of that.
Fucking lazy devs, though.
No.
Oh, you could even play that in. Like imagine. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, and this is bad because then I work myself up. But like, imagine, if you will. That like the sun or the ring is orbiting on a set timer. So if you want to like, we got to take out that gun encampment, you could actually wait for the sun to be obscured so that you can sneak in or something like that. So like enemy vision cones could be based on illumination too. So you can be tactical. You can be like, we're gonna have a ring eclipse in 5 minutes. Let's wait for that with all your Halo bros. That'd be sick. That'd be cool.
I mean, look, all the things you're saying sound fantastic, but I just saw a dude drop in and go, I'm going to take out these 3 anti-air and shoot a bunch of weapons I already knew and have a grappling hook. So that's cool, but I don't know that we're getting any of that other than the fact that we're getting a Halo that seems a little more open world with your buttons, which is cool, which is fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. And it'll be on PC right away, which is also neat. I'm excited about that.
What? I still don't understand why it's called Infinite.
I assumed it was because it was open world. So, I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. And also, if you know what, I still don't know if they're going to do this or not. But I think they should just put a fucking battle royale in it and make it free to play. Make that battle royale free to play for Halo. Even though it's way too late to do that, but they might as well at this point. If they've got the technology to put a bunch of Master Chiefs together, why not do that?
Yeah, why not?
Really, honestly, it should be pretty simple with what they're developing. I know it sounds ridiculous, but hey, why not throw a battle royale out there? Who cares?
Yeah, why not? What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen? If it's a free to play battle royale, then why not? Who cares? Do it. Yeah. All right. What was next? What was after that? Oh, State of Decay. State of Decay.
State of Decay. I gotta admit, I have not played a single State of Decay game.
I played the first one for like 3 hours, and that was it. And that was all I played. Didn't State of Decay come out when? Wasn't it like coming out when DayZ was coming up, and everyone was like, "We need another zombie game. That's a survival zombie game."
It's definitely from the era of zombie fanaticism, you know?
Yeah.
Walking Dead and things like that. I mean, I feel like zombies were not like most properties that relied around zombies. I feel like they're all trying to move away from being zombie focused and just more towards like dystopia focused.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to see the pivot. I don't recall there being an actual zombie in the trailer, but I could be wrong.
There was, yeah. No, you're right. There was only Deer Zombie.
Yeah.
There was only Deer Zombie, but there were no other zombies. I don't know. I'm not sure. There are people that I think a lot of people play this game. I just have never gotten into it. I don't know anybody else that's gotten into it either.
I need to check it out. I have, yeah. I guess there's zombie deer. All right, there's zombie deer. Scream Tech though. That's those screams. Those are pretty good looking screams.
Scream Tech.
Who's the real animal, Bruce? The trailer seems to ask.
Does the trailer ask that?
Yeah, because she scream and then deer scream.
Well,
two screams.
But she screams because she's trying to scare away the wolf, and then
that's what the deer's doing, trying to scare away her.
Nah, Deer Scream is zombie. Deer Scream's gonna kill her.
Maybe zombie just want to be left alone. Maybe we're the real monsters.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe zombies and humans should live together in harmony.
I should check out State of Decay. Probably.
Again, there are a lot of people that play it, and they say that it's really fun. So
I'll just end up playing Doom again.
That's okay. You're allowed to play Doom.
No, Bruce, I have obligations.
No, you're allowed to do that. Up next, Forza.
Yes, thank you for saying it. Italia. Hey.
Forza, right? Isn't that?
Did you French pinch or did you chef kiss your fingers when you did that?
Forza.
There will be a day when you're not allowed to make fun of stereotypical Italians, but it's not today.
I mean, I'm not even making fun of that. It's what Italians do. The Italians do that sometimes.
They love cars and they love pinching their index and middle fingers together with their thumb. They love it, and they love tomatoes. Love them. God bless you guys. God bless them.
I think you're the only person I know that might be into Forza. Are you Are you into it, or you are, right?
I'm super into it. It's interesting because like, there's no way to make a sim racer look interesting. It's just impossible. After like Gran Turismo 4, I feel like they all looked identical, and there's no feature you can add anymore that makes people turn their heads, which is usually why Horizon and like arcadey racers do so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're more approachable and they kind of have a more fun spirit. But I don't know. There's something cozy about sim racers being like a tentpole release with a new console. I guess mostly because of Gran Turismo, but yeah, I don't know, man. They had like a lunar rover in Gran Turismo 7. Where do you go from there? So I get the trailer may not have like excited anyone, but I'm very glad that Microsoft is still supporting this franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you're gonna have fast loading, I guess, and maybe cloud rendered.
I mean,
stuff.
It looks. Everything is like it's a smaller step forward, but it still looks better than what I've seen. I very rarely play these games, so it's like, to me, I'm always like, oh, it's neat, and then kind of move on, because I love cars, but I'm not going to sit down and play a sim racer.
Yeah, I understand.
Just because it takes way too much dedication and time to actually get into this game. Like, that's why, obviously, like what you just said about Horizon, it's an easier game to get into, but this one's just like this is like, you've got to have your sweet fucking chair and your sweet fucking race wheel and your sweet fucking pedals and sweet fucking helmet and all that other stuff. And I don't have any of that. So I feel like barrier to entry is a little high.
Somebody far more knowledgeable than me, Trey in chat, says they're greatly improving the physics and sim engine.
Okay.
So that's good, I guess. I still feel like the person who's folding their arms and being like, "Convince me, Phil Spencer." I don't know that this trailer is gonna put a dent in them. Nor do I think that like your average racing game player is going to even be able to notice some of the tweaks they might be doing to the physics engine. But
not your average racer, yeah.
But that's kind of not who the franchise is for. I feel like Forza Motorsport, the Sim series, is more for the prestige of it, and it's also just like, again, I'm just glad Microsoft is putting weight behind it.
Yeah.
It's they did show a lot of like management teams and stuff in the trailer, so I wonder if there's going to be like Grid has some very light team management aspects. I'm wondering if maybe Motorsport will lean more into that aspect with this version of the game of like tuning, maybe like running a team of racers and maintaining their cars individually. I don't know.
Can I get a show of hands in chat? How many people like actually play Forza? How many people?
There it is.
Yes or no? Yes or no? How many people play Forza? I'm just curious to see in my chat, yes or no, and in Lawrence's chat, how many people we got. Because so like it's interesting because I see like I did I see a lot of past, but I wonder if sometimes okay, all right, I think Forza may be more popular than I think it is. I think that might be the case.
Well, I think if you roll it back to sort of the value proposition, why wouldn't you? If you have Game Pass and a Series X,
that's true. Yeah.
It's not going to cost you anything else. Also, I just noticed this. There's no number on Motorsport anymore.
That's right.
So I feel like Infinite, and probably a lot of Microsoft first-party franchises, they're moving away from iterative releases.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just going to be called Forza Motorsport for the foreseeable future, where they add cars and tracks. But that's like it's a platform. So when you get Game Pass, you get Forza and Halo, not individual games, but the concept, the service. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's what an amazing value proposition Game Pass is. Like, to me, every time I see what they have and see how much it costs, it's like totally fucking worth it. Absolutely, just 100%. So, good on Xbox for still offering that value proposition for Game Pass.
Yeah, it's really interesting because no matter what, game console makers had to burn some money to buy a foothold in the market. Whether and typically that was selling hardware at under market cost, but now Microsoft is burning money in another way.
Mm-hmm.
They're just buying developers and funding the development of games to get their monthly service numbers up, which is a really interesting strategy. And it's kind of hard to say no at this point.
It's also been working really well. I know that they've been bragging about their Xbox Game Pass numbers in the last few months. So, and I think people are starting to take notice of that.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating, really, if you go back and think about it, because Microsoft was the first company to launch a monthly subscription service way back with Xbox Live. They were the first ones to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
And all throughout the 360 PS3 generation, their Xbox Live numbers were like going up and up and up, and they were getting crazy amounts of money off that. I recall that even though Microsoft consoles never really outsold Sony consoles, they still brought in more revenue because of their subscription services. So it's crazy that like 15 years on now, we can kind of see the evolution of that business sensibility. So it worked really well for them for the past 10 years, and now they're like doubling down on it as the future of their entire Xbox service.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What about Everwild? Do you know anything about Everwild?
it looks fun. I gotta admit. Oh wait, sorry. I was thinking about Grounded. God, I mixed these two games up. They got announced.
They look very similar. No, 100%. 100%.
At least with this, Everwild looks different than Grounded does. It's like the opposite of Monster Hunter. I guess you're trying to find hurt little animals and heal them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
but it's also, it appears to be 4-player.
It's co-op, yeah, from what I can tell. That was another thing, just to go off on this a little bit. They really did not show much gameplay in this, like, at all. It was mainly just trailers, and I don't know, that really bummed me out, because I know whenever they talk about Game Showcase, this is what they did last time with their other Game Showcase, and that was even worse. This one's better because they've announced larger games, but there's still no gameplay in these trailers. And it's just really bugging me. I don't know if it's bugging you, but it's bugging me.
I would prefer to see gameplay, but weirdly, I think this is largely just presumption. But it seems to me that games sell more on concept than they do on actual gameplay.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, I'm always reminded of like No Man's Sky, about how like yeah, that's a really kind of special case to call out, but everyone was sold on the idea of that game.
That's right.
And I was waiting for gameplay, and when they showed gameplay, I was like, that looks bad. Like, that looks boring as shit. But nobody really seemed to grab onto that. And then the game came out, and it was boring as hell. Now, granted, a lot of people feel like it's been fixed since then.
It took 2 years, though.
Yeah, but I feel like, as much as I want to see gameplay, because I feel like that's more representative and gives me a better idea of what's coming up, I think from a marketing perspective, showing gameplay is maybe not actually that important. Could be. I don't know. I'm just
to me, this is a know your audience type thing, and the Xbox Game Show, like when they're showing the showcase and we're all co-streaming it and everybody's watching it all together, all of us are looking for gameplay, right? So I think all the people that are, because we're all enthusiasts, we're all people that are into this stuff. So I feel like they should be showing gameplay in these showcases specifically, and I think if later on they want to release a story trailer or whatever else for the broad audience of whoever's Googling Everwild, then totally fine, do that. But for these specific events where we're all together, a bunch of enthusiasts being like, show us our games, and then they give us trailers, I think that's disappointing for all of us. So I don't know that they're because I know what you're saying. I think you're right. The potential for a game versus the actual reality is always going to sell more because people are more excited about it. But they're now marketing to different audiences because all of this is online. And before it was E3, and maybe E3 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, was for a broader audience, for a lot of people besides enthusiasts, just people that would play video games occasionally. I don't know that we're there anymore. I think that everything's getting subdivided so much into enthusiasts and then into the broader audience, and then into the people that really love Forza and like stuff like that. I feel like we're getting down into the nitty gritty of each marketing beat, and each game should be marketed differently. I don't know what you think about that, but
I think that considering ourselves the core market might be, believe it or not, might be a bit of a misattribution.
I don't think we're the core. I don't think we're the core market. I'm just saying who they're talking to right now, today. That's all. That's what I'm saying. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess I think you're right. I guess where my head goes is it's easy for me to assume that if they had gameplay, they would have shown it, which may not be true. It may just be well, we have gameplay, but it's not as pretty as the trailer. It's just so show the trailer. But I guess so this is just a pure theoretical question. Would you rather see gameplay or nothing at all? Or would you rather see a concept trailer or nothing?
That's a great question. For me specifically, I'd rather see gameplay. I don't necessarily need to see a trailer. It doesn't really get me hyped either way. And at this point but this is me specifically. So, and I, I've been following this industry. I've been working in industry for 15 years. And I don't know that everybody feels that way. I'm not sure that that's even how, we can ask chat again. Would you rather see a trailer or nothing? If put in chat If you want to see a trailer, write trailer. But if you want to see nothing and wait for gameplay, put nothing. Because that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Lawrence. Cause for me, I would rather see nothing. I just wait for the gameplay. So.
Yeah, I feel like, man, then you're caught in a really tough decision. So, let's say that you're Rare, and you have gameplay, but it runs at 5 frames a second, and it's really junky, and you know that the game is maybe not going to look that way when the game launches, and then you have to deal with like people being mad at you that the puddles aren't in the same spot, and like I think that you open yourself up to a lot more headaches by showing gameplay, even if you put that little disclaimer at the bottom. People don't read that.
Oh right, yeah.
So showing alpha gameplay, the game in development, feels like you have so much to lose and so little to gain.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
Because man, there are some people who will get very angry.
Yeah, no, you're
about that. So I wonder. I wonder about the calculus of it. I'm sure there are all kinds of factors that are in conversations that we never hear. But
I see a lot of people in both chats hilariously saying trailer and a little bit of gameplay. That was not what I asked. Not at all. I didn't say that. Because we all want gameplay. And that's the thing, is that it's all boiling down to everybody wants gameplay. That's why I asked the question trailer or nothing, because I think you're right, Lawrence. The marketing beats they're like, all we've got is this trailer. We're not going to show alpha gameplay. So we can either show this trailer or we can wait and give them gameplay that we know is good. And that's why it's generally trailer or nothing. And I think that's where we're at now.
Billy says, so wait to show something. If you have to wait until gameplay looks good, you can only start marketing games in the last 2 months of development.
Yeah.
Pretty much ever.
Yeah.
So you have to. And also, this was supposed to be a big celebration of Microsoft Studios. So every studio has to report in with something, right?
Yeah.
I guess not every single studio was represented, but most of them were. Tough.
No,
I don't know.
It's super tough, because then you got the internet turning on you. Because then you got the internet being like, you didn't show any gameplay. Because, what do you do? I don't know.
Trailer over nothing, gameplay over everything.
See,
I could see that.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm. That's not the question. That is not the question. Because we all know everybody always wants gameplay, and that's what I'm saying. Like Lawrence just said, it's true. You'd have to wait until the last 2 months before the game came out, before they actually gave you anything. I mean, like Cyberpunk is probably an exception to the rule. But most games, I would say that they don't have gameplay that they're ready to show until a couple months before the game comes out. So,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Alpha gameplay of Biomutant. Man,
I don't remember that at all. I don't remember that.
It's a game that got canceled, I think.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, was that the? What was that? No, it's still happening. Never mind. THQ Nordic. Yeah, that's right. It's the angry raccoon thing.
What did you think about the Don't Nod game? Was it Tell Me Why, or what was the name of it?
Oh boy, I already forgot. I don't know. It looks like a Don't Nod game.
Yeah, it's a Life is Strange. Let's see here. What's next? What's next? Oh, the Ori upgrade.
Yeah, Ori.
Yeah.
That's. Didn't they say like 120 hertz? Am I wrong about that?
They did. Yeah, they did.
That's cool. I don't know. Oh, Tell Me Why was the Don't Nod game. Looks cool. That'd be fun. I like that they're. I guess this is kind of the tech forward part of it, right? Because they're showing you in super slow mo what 120 FPS looks like, because they're not streaming at 120 FPS. And most people don't have 120 hertz displays.
It's a good way to do it, because honestly, I could see the difference. I thought that was a good way to do it. I thought. That said, though, I don't care. Like, it's neat, and I'm really glad they upgraded the game, because the game already looked beautiful. But is this going to get people to buy it more? I don't know what this was for. I don't know why they showed this to me.
It's smart delivery. Sorry, you may be hearing tinkles right now. I'm pouring some coffee.
No worries.
So I think the idea behind that is one, sort of telling you that the implicit promise of something like Game Pass is that all your games will upgrade with you over time for free. Two is that when you download games you already own on a Series X, that smart delivery will automatically upgrade it to whatever version is appropriate for the platform you're playing it on.
That's neat. Very neat.
Yeah, these are all like value adds to Game Pass, really. And then I guess three is we're adopting 120 hertz, even though basically nobody has that in their living room displays right now. But it's like, I guess Game Pass is not only easy but also forward thinking is I think the idea behind Ori. Yeah, you're not just buying one game, exactly, Trey. And you're not even like I think that's all just to remind you of all the fringe benefits of Game Pass, which at some point it's going to get so scattershot, it's going to be hard to really message it in a punchy way.
Well, I was just about to say that. So all these things that they're adding and telling us about, I think it gets lost in the shuffle. And by the way, all great features, and that's why I keep saying Game Pass is such an amazing deal, because it totally is. But that said, now I got to sit down and basically write out a bulleted list of what Game Pass has and why it's so great. And then that becomes weird, because then it's like, well, why are you just Game Pass has blank on it, like it has Cyberpunk or whatever, and then like everyone's holy shit. But now you got it's got smart delivery, so it'll upgrade your game. You can play it on PC, but then it's all day and date. It's like, oh my gosh, it's way too much. Not easy to say to your friends. For us, totally works. But if you're talking to somebody who just wants video games, then it's got 300 video games on it. That's a better marketing beat than the smart delivery stuff. So
yeah, smart delivery is a weird feature because it's a feature that you should never know is working. That's the value of it, is that it's completely invisible. Yeah, I agree. I feel like they are trying the Amazon Prime tack, where they just keep lumping things into this one service to get it to the point where you will never ever not have it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good way to put it. I never even thought of that, because that's totally what Prime is doing.
Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, like Prime's list of things is weirdly scattered, and it's not. I don't think it's that there's one person that's going to use every part of Prime. It's that Prime has something that will appeal to everyone, and I guess that's maybe the approach they're taking with this, is that no matter what kind of gamer you are, Game Pass will have something for you.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's you just want something to show off your 120 hertz TV. Maybe that might be like 5 people, but hey, we got those 5 people.
Yeah, Wombat in your chat said, I mean, the people watching this are also probably aren't people who want games as such. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Wombat. They're talking to the enthusiasts. So we're all going to understand the smart delivery stuff, but I'm talking more for the broader audience there, as to how and why they're marketing this, and that goes back to my previous point about how I think they're marketing this to the enthusiasts, and that's why it's weird that they're showing trailers. So, regardless, let's see here. They showed Outer Worlds, and then they also showed Grounded.
Outer Worlds I thought was interesting because the DLC is not included with Game Pass.
It wasn't. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was going to be hyper interested in. If Game Pass not only gets you the game on day one, but also gets you all expansion content. But yeah, on the bottom right, the Outer Worlds base game is available on Xbox Game Pass. Parallel and Gorgon must be purchased separately, and Xbox Game Pass members get 10% off. So that's interesting.
Weird. Okay, I was just assumed that it came with Game Pass, but interesting. Yeah, good eye, Lawrence.
It's a reasonable assumption, but like, I've been curious about how Game Pass benefits individual developers. Most indie developers I've seen report that merely being on Game Pass means that more people buy your game, which makes no sense at all. But I think the idea is that like, on Game Pass, you play a game, then if your subscription lapses, or you just become more aware of games that you may not have ever heard about, and then you start to buy adjacent games. So if you play a game that you like that's on Game Pass, and there's another game that's similar to it that's outside of the Game Pass program, it seems that more people just buy that. It's just being in the ecosystem. It directs their purchasing power. So
Mystic.
Yeah, this is
Mystic says Mystic says most Game Pass games don't include DLC. From what I've seen, I didn't know that. So,
which is man, that's pretty interesting. And also, I feel like we're a couple years away from gamers getting real mad about like a game coming out on Game Pass, and then a month later a DLC content pack, and then people are being like, "Wait a minute, this should have been in the game,"
Right.
and then
Right.
that fuzzy line of where a game is complete and where paid content starts to exist. Well, I feel like some people are gonna get heated about that.
I would agree. Right now, it's like it still feels great because Game Pass is so cheap, and so it feels like you're getting a ton of games for free. But yeah, once we get into that little spot when they're like, "Wait a minute, this should have been in the game initially," so that would be that is weird. Grounded, I love Rare co-op games ever since Sea of Thieves, so I'm excited about Grounded. Comes out in a few days.
Ooh, not Rare. That's
Oh,
Obsidian.
is it not Rare? Oh, what was the other? What was the Rare?
Everwild.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, see, I mixed them up earlier too.
Uh-oh.
It's tough. It's tough, man. It's weird because Everwild looked like a tiny person game too, but it's not. It just has larger animals.
The tiny person game. It did. You're totally right.
In Grounded, you are a tiny person, so.
Well, Obsidian's also good.
They're good.
Yeah.
It looks fun. I'm not.
To this point, this is what I mean is that I still got lost in the middle of this conference because I was like, they just showed a bunch of trailers. Nothing really stuck out in my brain, so that's why I'm mixing these up now.
They got announced at about the same time.
Oh,
and yeah, it is 4-player co-op. I guess theoretically that had some things that are closer to gameplay. Grounded did, right?
It did, yeah. No, Grounded definitely showed gameplay. Because I mean, they should have. The game's coming out in 5 days, so I'm actually surprised they didn't show more of that to begin with. But and then
it also doesn't look like it's voxel based. Like you can build bases and stuff.
Yeah.
But am I going to be punching trees again, or excuse me, like blades of grass? I guess.
Definitely, you're definitely going to be doing that.
Oh man,
that's what it looks like to me. And then also the game looked cool, but again, just a very brief trailer. Avowed, neat, cool. I'm excited about
it. Yeah, I was. The tone of Avowed looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're just like the whole like first person dungeon crawling thing, like Ultima Underworld or Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Deep Down is another game that like never came out. It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
I do like the it's set in the Pillars of Eternity world. Really? Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I hope that is I hope that's a game where you're stuck in some crazy, huge labyrinthine underground dungeon and you just have to roll around and fight monsters and level up and get gear and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like that fire arrow hitting that pile of rubble has got to be a Dark Souls reference. Am I just off about that? It looks like a bonfire.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice. Yeah, you're totally right. They might be a little homage to Dark Souls.
I think so. It's like medieval dark fantasy. Maybe to communicate that this is supposed to be a difficult mechanic-based game. Who knows?
But still, again, the same deal. They showed the trailer and then somebody talked about it with the same B-roll over it, and I don't know. That's it doesn't get me excited. I was like, oh, that's cool. It looked like Skyrim, and that was sort of what I got from it. I'm not sure. What game really excited you? Was there one game that you were like, I am so excited to play this? Was there any of those?
The Crossfire campaign, bizarrely, because it's being made by Remedy. I really don't care about Crossfire, but any single player content from Remedy, I'm always perking up for. It was weird to see Stalker 2.
Yeah, I was actually like, and I've heard a lot of people talk about Stalker, the first one, and really like talk about it like it's a cult classic, like they love it. So that's pretty cool that they're making a Stalker 2.
It was announced in August 2010.
Stalker 2?
Stalker 2's been in development forever.
Oh my gosh.
And I guess sometime in 2021 is when it's supposed to come out. But yeah, 11 years, theoretically.
Holy shit.
Stalker is a cool game. I feel like it hit exactly when no one was making that kind of game for PC anymore.
Yeah.
So they, in a weird way, in the way that like, I'm going to do it in the way that like Dark Souls resurrected an entire kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Stalker was that for a lot of people who really, really liked open world environment sim shooters. Metro to a lesser extent. Metro is a little more linear, but yeah, Stalker for me at least gave me a lot of that Fallout vibe that Fallout 3 did not provide.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows? I just don't have any fix on what Stalker 2 would be.
I mean, it's probably going to be
man.
a really, really hard survival game, which is kind of like Tarkov, but I mean, they'll probably have multiplayer too. But it seemed a little like I feel like it's like Tarkov but supernatural. That's the way. That's the feeling I always got. I never played the first Stalker. I've watched a lot of gameplay of it, and that's how it feels to me. But who knows?
That's what it is. It's got that Euro jank that I think people were more willing to put up with to get that kind of game back then. I'm just wondering now if there's like a full Euro jank shooter. We all honestly thought Stalker 2 died to make Tarkov. It's not the same developers, is it?
I don't think so. Maybe it is. I didn't think it was.
I guess when it comes to like Slavic first-person shooters, maybe they're interchangeable.
I mean, they basically all are. It's always set in a post-apocalyptic world where everything sucks. Yeah, I was surprised to see that. It was cool though. It's exciting that they were able to get it out of development hell. I had no idea it had been developed for 10 years or whatever.
Psychonauts 2 was cool.
Yeah, sure.
Seeing that.
Yeah.
The art direction of that trailer was pretty astounding, and theoretically there was some gameplay in there, I guess, in engine at least.
Yeah, there was a little gameplay. I think that we did see actual gameplay. There was that other motion comic game that I was watching earlier on my screen. It was As Dusk Falls, the Tom Goes to the Mayor game, basically.
That's exactly what it looks like. Wow.
Yeah, it just felt weird. There was also...
It's weird they called it From As Dusk Falls because it reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn. Of just like,
yeah.
We're going to hide out in this ratty-ass motel, and then also thieves show up, and there's going to be a lot of like Hitchcockian tension about this nice family getting thrust up against these horrible thieves, but it turns out they're not bad people either. They're just... No, like,
they also showed Destiny,
yeah,
which is fine. It's just more of the games as a service thing that I think they try to reinforce. But it's always weird when they show trailers for those in these games showcases because we expect new games. So I feel like it sort of takes the wind out of your sails, unless you're a Destiny diehard, because you're not seeing anything new.
I mean, it was a new expansion, right?
It is. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a new expansion. But what I'm saying is but it's a video game we already know about, and these are generally like huge reveals for brand new video games.
I think the age of that is coming to an end.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
It's just going to be platforms and services and announcements for new content. But I think for new IP, you gotta you're gonna have to start looking at like the AA $20 Steam releases.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess there weren't. I guess there's new Fable, but that again is a new version of a thing it's already existed before. I mean, they had like the thing is like new IP. They announced a few of them, but there was very little to see, which is kind of how it goes with new IP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless that like they start an entirely new game, they develop it in complete secret for 4 years, and then right at the end, they show some gameplay and then launch it. Like I feel like that's the only way to like do it fully complete. Correct for gamers because they showed what was it, Avowed? That's a new IP. Grounded, Everwild.
Oh, I gotta apologize for my internet. Spectrum is shitting on me as normal.
No.
So yeah, that's normal. So I apologize, everybody. You should be able to hear us just fine, but the video might be a little laggy. So I apologize, everybody. It's the usual. There was also the Warhammer trailer.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, 40K is just so cool. And I love the like Left 4 Dead game type. I played a Gang of Vermintide just because it was Warhammer and the Left 4 Dead format, but there's a 40K gun-based game in the vein of like Vermintide where there's multiple classes and you can like level them up and get gear. Oh my gosh, I'm so into that.
Me too. Me too. And Vermintide, I actually never got to play a lot, and I wanted to play more of it. It just never did. So I'm really excited they did this. But,
It's so beautiful.
and then let's see what else we got.
I hope it scales like Destiny. I feel like has a really good way to scale nearly infinitely with the way that it like has hard versions of missions and stuff like that. I can only assume that this game's going to be like that. Also, I just like what is with Warhammer games, and in the last 10 years there's been like 2 or 3 every year, and they're all decent. I just don't get how Warhammer has so many games.
Yeah, I don't know either. They're obviously clearly like they love that license, and they're licensing. They're really good at licensing it out. So I don't know.
Oh, they don't do the hard versions of stuff anymore in Destiny? Oh, okay. It's been 6 months since I played Destiny, so maybe everything is different.
There's also Tetris Effect, which,
Yeah, that's
which
cool.
looks like Tetris co-op. I assumed you'd be excited about that.
I am. I mean, that's not particularly an entirely new mode for Tetris, but it doesn't have to be. You know, there've been a million Tetris games.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad it's coming to other platforms. For me, it's mostly like the more sales bites they get out of that game, the more likely it is that it'll make its money, and that Tetsuya Mizuguchi will get to keep making stupid plur hippie games. I just
Let's see here. What else?
optimized single player. What does that even? That phrase, man, I have no idea what that means for Tetris Effect Connected. Optimized single player.
I mean,
We made it. It's only 6.
If anybody would know, it'd be you, but I guess not.
Optimize a Tetris game.
I don't.
More frames. Who knows?
I have no idea. Let's see here. What else?
Okay. Apparently, Game Workshop just completely went bananas with licensing the 40K property, so a million developers are.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, the Crossfire campaign, which will be fun.
There was what's Goo game where you go around and suck up
the gunk.
Yeah.
The gunk.
The gunk reminds me of a game that would have come out on Xbox Live Arcade in like 2013.
Yeah, no, the gunk didn't. It looked like knack, and I was like, okay, whatever.
I liked it. I like the world crafting looked pretty cool, but again, it's like you look like a tiny person in an overgrown world.
And that very rare style animation, and yeah.
That like bouncy walk animation, and your person just kind of a squat little orb when you're running around.
Yep.
I like it though. I'm into it. Also, like, I feel like it's been a bit of an undercurrent lately to have games that are expressly not about shooting and destroying. That's kind of a weird hippie turn in game concept.
Yeah, that's the indie stuff. That's what happens.
Yeah, Recore, that PS2 era feel. Yes.
That's it was those games are made for a specific group of people, and they seem to be like relatively easy to make, I guess, because they wouldn't keep making it if they didn't make money.
Yeah, so. Well, I think in this case it's Microsoft connecting a fire hose of money to all their studios.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
and then Fable.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. There was the Medium by Bloober, but that's already been announced.
That's been announced, yeah.
They showed, I guess, theoretically something closer to gameplay, the like switching between realities.
That was cool.
Being...
Yeah, that was cool.
That's kind of neat. Fable. Or wait, Phantasy Star Online 2 remake. Crossfire, and then so it's funny because I was I think about a week ago I just ticked through every Microsoft studio and saw that Playground was working on an unannounced RPG, and for some reason it just did not even for a second click that might be the new Fable game.
That's the I did you ever play Fable at all? Like, were you a big Fable fan?
I played them, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan. I enjoyed them well enough. I liked Fable 3 quite a bit. I even played like the Kinect Fable game. I liked them, and I appreciated that the Fable games have a really cheeky sense of humor. It's like just extremely British.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Painfully British sometimes.
Absolutely.
And I think that was represented in this trailer with the little fairy getting eaten by a stupid frog. I like it.
Yeah.
It looks and feels like Fable, even though it's not it's no gameplay.
I was really excited because I've never been able to sit down and actually play a Fable. So now I'm glad that they're doing this because I personally now can stream it. So I'm excited to play because I watched my roommate play a ton of Fable 3 when it came out, and he hated it. He kept playing it, and I was like, "Why are you still playing this?" He's like, "I don't know, I don't like it." So, I remember people being negative about Fable 2 and 3, but loving the first Fable. So hopefully they'll go back to whatever made the first Fable work.
Fable, and people's reactions to it is an extremely strange dynamic.
Yeah,
just super, super weird. It was Fable was kind of the No Man's Sky before No Man's Sky. You had Peter Molyneux up there just shooting his mouth off, saying any goddamn thing.
You're right.
And then people thought that would actually happen. So when Fable 1 came out, it was this weird mix of like, hey, it's some of the things he said are kind of true. And some people really vibed on that because it was also kind of in the infancy of open world action RPGs. So I think the game type also really worked for some people, and it was a pretty big outlier on the original Xbox in terms of its tone and gameplay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as the games went on, kind of like Mass Effect, it became more and more obvious what the limitations were and how certain parts of the vision just weren't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people, like, some bitterness started growing. Also in Fable 3, not to mention that you, as the king of the entire nation, had to like roll out pie dough for 3 hours straight. Pretty sick. I actually love that. But then again, I like games that kind of almost aggressively invert your expectations. I thought that was funny, but that's me.
Yeah, that's I know. I just know a lot of people. I know, like I said, I have very little experience with Fable. I'm just excited to try it out, and see if it actually lives up to the hype. Because people in my chat were, they were exploding when we saw Fable. So.
Oh boy, Fable's one of those franchises I think that's really tied to a lot of people's warm, youthful memories of playing video games. Also, it's like, it's been long enough, and Fable's in that magic window of like millennial nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think the time is ripe for a really good Fable reboot.
Yeah.
And Playground Games are fantastic developers, absolutely fantastic. So I think Horizon shows that they know how to present a fun, freewheeling spirit with their games, mm-hmm. and layer it on top of a bunch of very comprehensible progression mechanics. So I can see them bringing the same thing to Fable, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's I'm excited for it. I'm excited to finally experience it for myself.
I can't wait for you to play Fable 1. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I don't know that I'll ever do that.
What? Oh, I don't know. You're just gonna play New Fable.
I was just gonna play New Fable. Yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna go back to Fable 1.
Sorry, I thought when you talked about playing it, I was like, "You're gonna play Fable 1? Awesome."
Oh, maybe I will. Maybe I will, just because you seem so excited.
It's man. That's also when I feel like because game consoles had storage and like 3D processing, and like now you could have like people doing VO and stuff. Fable was also part of this big like, oh, we're finally going to have these emergent narratives, and video games are going to finally grow into the adult medium they're meant to. And then when Fable 1 starts, like within 5 minutes, you're farting until you shit your pants. It's like, everyone thought Fable 1 was going to be the Citizen Kane of gaming, and then it's just like, I'm gonna blast ass so hard that people throw up. Oh man, Fable rules.
Well, I don't know. This was a little bit of a disappointment for me because there was not much gameplay, but otherwise, it was. I thought this wasn't as good as the PS5 showcase. I don't know. What did you think?
I'm confused by the intent a little bit.
Yep.
With the PS5 showcase, it seemed like Sony was saying like, here's what you can expect in the PS5 ecosystem in the first 2 years or so. I was like, okay, that's a pretty powerful showing. This, I thought, was going to be purely Microsoft Studios. It's like Microsoft's big flex of like, this is the maturation of all of the studios we've been snapping up over the past 4 years. Like, it's finally hitting, it's all colliding right now. We got a new console, we got all these devs, we got all these games on Game Pass. But then they have trailers for other things too, like Phantasy Star Online 2 remake, and it makes me wonder why they chose to include the things they did.
I mean,
So
it may have been as simple as they had stuff to show. Like they were just like I'm sure that they were planning to show some of that stuff, but like it may have just been like, well, we've got some Phantasy Star stuff that we could show that it's good game because they showed gameplay in that trailer. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
for me, I think I agree, Bruce. Like for me, as somebody who really wants to get just super, super like vibrating tickled about video games, there's not a lot that really did it. I think the Fable reveal was a pretty good punch.
That was
That
fun.
was a pretty good wow moment.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I don't know that the PS5 showcase had a beat like, I mean, Miles Morales kind of.
It honestly, the only thing that did it for me in PS5 was the console reveal, because they hadn't shown it yet, so that was cool.
You're right. That was cool. That was kind of cooler than a concept trailer for Halo 5, or sorry, for Fable.
Yeah, that was
I
neat.
guess if I read intent, and I'll throw this one to Twitch chat too. Is anyone that hadn't yet signed up for Game Pass, have you been convinced to do it now?
Good question.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of what this whole conference was for. I don't know.
I see some no's in
Yeah, I
in your chat.
Only a couple of yeahs. Sign up for it when COVID hit. Man, smart moves.
What about my chat? Are you guys convinced to sign up for Game Pass? Disco Joe says yeah. Rangers already got it. It's I don't know.
I think what's most likely is like somebody buys a Series X. I don't know that many people have been convinced to do that yet, but Halo Infinite's probably the best shot. You buy a Series X, there's a card in there for a month of Game Pass, so you already get Halo Infinite. And then I guess the real test is a month into your Series X when your free trial runs out, do you renew? And I imagine most people would, because if it's have Halo Infinite for another month for $12 versus paying $60 to keep playing Halo Infinite, people are just gonna. I think that's really the move. Is you get people in with like $10 or a free card. You give them all these games for the first month, and then you take them all back.
Yep.
And that's when somebody's got to bust out the credit card, and then they're in for life, basically.
That's right. No, yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I have to go and see if I can fix my internet.
I'm so sorry, man.
Oh, it never ends. Never ends over here. But thanks for talking with me about this. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know I tend to talk a lot. I just get really excited.
No, Lawrence, you kidding me? You're not at all. I love talking to Lawrence about video games and everything else.
So
it's great.
Halo
and Fable.
Fable. I'm just excited that like all these games, or most of them theoretically, are coming to PC. So
that excites me the most about this is that they're just doing that the same like day and date on PC, and that makes it great for me because I've been a PC gamer for 20 years, so it's that's exciting to see that they're finally making that transition. I don't have to worry about like picking up a controller. So
awesome.
Yeah, I guess now's the time to say goodbye to YouTube. Goodbye
YouTube.
Bye YouTube.